All right, so we are leaving Crosby, Texas. We're on Highway 90. We're headed towards 610 East. Well, we're headed west right now. We're headed west into downtown Houston, but we're not going to get to downtown Houston. We're going to get on 610 Loop, and we're going to go south, and then we're going to go 288 south. So it's November. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving 2020. You can kind of see downtown over here from this hill right here, or this bridge. It's a good spot to look at downtown. After that, it disappears because we go back to flat land. See, now it's disappearing into traffic. Nice truck cutting in front of us. Always let the nice trucks in. My brother drives a really nice Jeep that I sold, and then he also has a work car, an old little Honda, and he says, man, when I drive my little Honda, nobody respects me on the road. It's like, then I drive the Jeep and everybody's nice to me. So that's coming from him. He notices stuff like that. So, you know, there's been debates on these videos when I look through the comments, and people say that Houston is not a good place to live. Other people want to move to Houston, and here lately I've been hearing a lot of big corporations that are still here in America. They want to move over here. They want to move to Houston. And I don't know if it's that I've been here most of my life. I wasn't born here. I was born in Mexico, but I got here as soon as I could. I was 2 years old when my parents finally settled here in Houston. But all of our lives, since before we were born, my parents traveled back and forth. My grandparents were born here in this area, in the Houston area, and my dad married his wife, my mom, from Mexico, and so that's why we traveled back and forth to Mexico. Both of my grandparents were born here, but later in the 1930s they moved to Mexico because of the Great Depression. So work was kind of going away and everybody was hungry, and so my older siblings that were living in the years of the 1930s, they got a free ride to Mexico on a train, and that's how many of us were born in Mexico. But because our great and grandparents were American citizens, we were allowed to come back as permanent residents. When we turn 18, we can apply to become citizens, and that's what we did. Citizens of this beautiful country and this beautiful city full of history. I love the history here in the Houston area. I love that all the historic sites, I can go and take my kids and tell them about it. like the Battle of San Jacinto. By the way, we just crossed San Jacinto a while ago, the San Jacinto River. And to our left of the screen is where the San Jacinto battle happened, when the Texians fought the troops of Santa Anna, the Mexican president. And so that's where they took over, and they finally got him to leave this area, and then Texas won its independence. Well, that was like around the year 1836. In 1837, the city of Houston was born. Because this water that we just crossed, the San Jacinto River, meets in the Galveston Bay, and there's also Buffalo Bayou that meets there. Well, Buffalo Bayou, which is now the Houston Ship Channel, would go as deep as where downtown Houston is right now, and that was what we call Allen's Landing, which is right under Main Street, the bridge that crosses Buffalo Bayou, downtown Houston. It's Main Street, and that's where everything started for this giant city that I'm driving the streets of. Right now, as I was saying, we just crossed the San Jacinto River. Back in those days, it was like a 3-day trip from downtown Houston to this area that we're driving at the moment, right now. It would take about 3 days to get here. Right now, it would take me maybe 30 minutes, because I'm driving at a speed of 60 miles an hour, and the wagons can only go like maybe 3 miles an hour. I'm not sure. I've never done the math. But they used to talk about days. You get on this trail, you get on the old Beaumont Trail, and you stay on it for 3 days, you'll get to the San Jacinto River. The little old town of Crosby, there's a couple of houses there and stuff like that. That's how people would talk. This is Wallaceville Road we're crossing right now. By the way, this is the new part, the newest, the latest, the last part of Highway 90. We just crossed Beltway 8. So from Beltway 8 behind us, and then through this point that we're driving on right now, it wasn't in existence for many years. It must have been about 10 years ago that they opened this part of the highway. And look how busy it is. It's a new highway, and it's very busy. Businesses starting to pop up, because this is a Houston area. There is millions of businesses here, and there's a customer for everything in Houston. Anything you want to do in Houston, you got a customer here. If you're here to sell Ferraris, you're going to sell Ferraris. If you're here to sell equipment, medical equipment, medicine, Mexican products, Indian products, Chinese products, Irish products, anything you want to sell in the Houston area, there's a customer for it. If you're into art, if you're into customizing anything, there is a customer for you here in the Houston area. Anything, ships, 18-wheelers, so many things. Education, if you're in education, if you want to open up a school, a college, training site, so many things you can come do in Houston. And I love it. I love it for that. Anything I'm looking for, anything I ever think of, I've got it within 30 minutes. I can drive to a place that can provide 610 South. We're gonna go 610 South, so we're gonna scoot over here. I almost missed it, but I made sure that nobody was next to me and behind me. But this is where Highway 90 ends, connecting to I-10 and 610 loop on the east side of Houston. You got all these trees. They're nice here in the intersections, in the connecting areas of all these highways, but I hate to see all these trees covering the businesses of the Houston area when they plant them along the freeway, covering the businesses that are along the feeder roads. Like right here on the right, you see these tall trees right here on the right. They're new, and they're covering all the businesses that are there. There's not much. There's a Budweiser company, bottling company. Whoa, whoa, whoa! This guy almost hit me. Look at him. That red car right there. Look, look, look! He's pushing the next car. He's flashing his lights at him. He's going around him, and he's gone. Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah, we got a lot of that. You gotta be careful. Let's count lanes right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're sitting on 5 lanes, and if you say on the other side is another 5 lanes, we're riding on a part of 610 that is using 10 lanes. 10 lanes, guys, right now. And still that guy can't get enough. We're driving south towards the ship channel. Another area that I love seeing. I love all the exporting that's happening and importing. The Port of Houston is one of the largest in the world, and we can get anything in here and we can ship anything from here. And there's a lot of shipping container companies here. We just passed one right here on the right. Windmills are being exported through this port right here. The windmill blades, they're huge, and I've seen those things getting loaded here at the port. The bridge coming up, the 610 bridge, the Sydney bridge. A lot of the big giant ships can go under this bridge, and that's as far as they're gonna go. As I was saying earlier, the ships used to cross through here, going right into downtown, but that was over 100 years ago. As the ships got bigger and bigger, we had to make the bridges bigger and bigger. But the canal, the ship channel, Sydney Sherman Bridge is what it is. But I wish I could show you guys, but right here to the right, I can see downtown Houston. What a beautiful sight. And then to my left, all the oil refineries. A lot of people don't, that hate on the oil economy, don't think about all the plastic that is derived from oil. If you look at your water bottle, the water bottle that you're holding in your hand drinking water out of, it's produced from the plastics that are refined here in the Houston area. This guy's missing a tire. So all the toys, all the plastics in your car, all the plastics in the medical equipment, the plastic phone you're holding, a lot of it comes from the plastics that are refined here in the Houston area. the pellets are manufactured here and shipped to many parts of the country and out of this country, exported to other places, maybe even China. I don't know. So I've never imagined moving to another town. I've visited other towns. I have never visited another large town, bigger than Houston area. I've never been to New York. I've never been to Chicago. I've never been to LA. So I cannot tell you that this is better, because I've never been to those major cities that are bigger than Houston. But in a sense, in a way, I could say that Houston does have other unique things that those major cities might not have. Like one thing that I kind of sense that we have here is many schools, many schools, all types of schooling that you can do and training here in the Houston area. Kind of related to that, we have the Space Center. Even though it's been shut down, part of it has been shut down, it's still here, and there's still many scientific experiments being conducted and research being conducted here in the Houston area, because NASA is here. So we feel pretty good about that. It's something nice to have here in town. You know, one thing that I wish we had a little more of is theme parks. We used to have Astroworld, Six Flags Astroworld here on 610, towards the area that I'm headed to right now, and it disappeared. It got taken away from us. I understand that there was all kinds of financial things going on with Astroworld. You know, it gets sold from one company to another, and maybe the investors don't have the same love, and I can't really say much about what really happened, but something strange happened there. We lost the Astroworld. The sad thing is that there was a couple of gangs that kind of took over the area, and there was a couple of shootings that happened that I remember when I was a kid. So that's pretty sad that stuff like that went down. But you know, with any major city, it doesn't matter which city it is, and no one can argue this, because a city is so old. A city that was established before the 1900s, it's gonna have old neighborhoods. With old neighborhoods comes a lot of poor people. With poor people comes a lot of crime, because the people that are in need are the ones that go out and use drugs, sell drugs to get the easy money, and it's those poor neighborhoods that create that environment. When you go to a town that is very touristy, you might not see a lot of that. You might not see gangs in that area. You might not see a lot of drug problems. The drugs are in every city, I understand that, but you're not gonna see a lot of killings related to drugs. You're gonna see a lot of arrests, people going to jail for having them, for selling them, for buying them, but you're not gonna see crimes being committed other than the crime of selling an illegal drug. So with every major city, you're gonna have the ghettos, you're gonna have the poor neighborhoods, you're gonna have the gangs that have been there for many years, and it's up to the city officials to work with those old neighborhoods and try to develop into better neighborhoods and bring schools into the neighborhood, bring parks into the neighborhood, bring other businesses to kind of try to mellow down that environment that has been created for many, many years. Because it took many years for these poor neighborhoods to build, to become ghettos. I have a feeling we're getting to 288. That's why traffic is stopping right now. We are on the south side of Houston, South Park. And we're getting to 288. I need to be on 288 South. So another cool thing about the Houston area that I enjoy, and it makes me feel proud of the city, is that you can drive, for example, on 610. And I made a video driving around 610. You can look for it here in this channel, but 610 is, I'm gonna say, a good 95% lined on both sides with businesses. I mean, you drive for an hour and you see nothing but businesses, and that is a great thing. That is a good thing for the business owners, for the business developers, for the economy of the city, for us, the consumer. Because if we wanted to get our nails done, we're gonna have 100 shops to choose from. If we wanted to get a nice haircut, you're gonna have hundreds of barber shops to choose from till you find the best one that you like. Many, many options. You don't have to settle for that one little barber shop in town. Right here within 20 minutes, you can choose from 20 barber shops. And it's great for the barbershop owner because he gets so many people come in and try his business, and he has to show the customer that he's the one, that he's the best barbershop, or for that person, because everybody has different likes. And that's how the economy revolves and moves around and rolls and rolls. I always laugh because me being Mexican, when I see businesses, established real businesses dedicated to a Mexican product, and for example, I was gonna say in my case, but for example, one, because it's not my case, it's just an example. One of the things is it's a bakery. Mexicans use panaderia, which is just a place where they make bread. And it's bread for eating tortas, for making the nice tortas that you buy at a taco truck or in Mexico. They make that, but they also make sweet bread and cakes for like celebrations, like weddings, quinceañeras, and stuff like that, birthdays. And so they're called panaderia. And here in the Houston area, we have so many of those. I mean, we have some serious panaderias. Like we have, 288. Kind of confused here where I need to be. I'm gonna go right here on the right. To the left, 610 is gonna continue, go towards what used to be Astroworld. Right now is the Houston Astrodome. The Astrodome is still there. Very historic place. The first covered, air-conditioned baseball field is here. It's not being used for anything, sadly, but it's still here. A very historic landmark in the Houston area. We might get to see it right here when we get to the top of this bridge. Maybe not, because we're gonna turn. But I'm gonna let you know that I can see it. I don't know if you could see, but I can see it right here to my right, the right side of the screen. And so we are getting on 288 South. Takes you down to Freeport. I hear there's some nice beach areas down there, so that's pretty good. What is that exit I'm looking for? I'm looking for airport. We should be about the third exit. So that's what's nice about the Houston area. The businesses, all types of businesses. That's one thing that was in my head. You know, I don't know. You know, maybe like I said, there's other towns that are like this, but and that's why I was saying, if your business caters Jewish people, if it caters Irish people, if it caters Italians, Houston has the customers. And so the panaderias cater mostly the Mexican community, and we can't let go of those businesses. I mean, everywhere we go, we